everybody.
Well, all right. I guess we are live. Welcome to Pastor Ron and Dana Smith Marriage Conversation number 37. Number 37. And thank you to Grace for getting us, and Waylon getting us kicked off and everything. So we are here, and we want to welcome everybody. We're going to talk just a few minutes just before we get into just discussing about 37 years.
Yeah, we thought we'd do this because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So men, don't forget to go get your wife something, or your girlfriend something, or your
Wait a minute.
whoever.
Now, if you're married, don't get your girlfriend nothing.
We'll discuss that in a minute.
We're gonna kick it. This is gonna be some for real marriage talk today. So you're gonna be blessed. And hey, this video is absolutely free. Shipping and handling is gonna cost you $19.99 though. That's a joke. That's a joke. And many times in marriage, you're gonna have to just take things lighthearted, just like that. But welcome. And if you find us online, live now, call somebody, text somebody, and say, hey, jump online and ask us some questions. Now, you'll need to ask the First Lady if you have her number. You can ask us any question, give her number to your friends, and they can text in, call in, whatever.
Yeah,
and
because
ask us
this isn't on Facebook Live.
It's on my page. It's on my page.
Well, then I can.
And
We'll get this going here in a second.
yes, and make sure.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay,
We're
so
live.
if you have questions or whatever, then I see it and we can answer them or whatever. So we'll do that.
Yeah, and what prompted, I guess, us wanting to do this, even though we should be doing it anyway, more often, is that Dana and I got married. When was it?
Yeah, when was it?
February 14th,
1987.
1987.
So tomorrow marks 37 years.
The good Lord willing, we both wake up in the morning and get to hug and kiss one another. 37 years married tomorrow. And we just wanted to get on and share some things with you, some concerns or some interest we have rather today when people approach marriage today versus what we approached to that 37 years ago. And Lord knows it hadn't been easy, but then again, it hasn't been all difficult either.
No.
And so we're going to get on here and give somebody a few minutes to jump online and help us get this word out. And I believe it'll bless you, and hope that the audio sounds good. And so let us know. We can make some adjustments. But anyway, let's get into this, First Lady. How you doing?
Good.
I know you're doing good.
I've got some bacon to do, so I'm going to go do that in a few minutes.
Well,
Cookies to make.
remember that old commercial, Mama shakes and bakes and I help? I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you baking by staying out of the kitchen and eating everything that you cook.
I'll make extra.
Amen. So 37 years. 37 years tomorrow. Will mark our anniversary, and of that 37, 34 of that have been in full-time ministry. Mm-hmm. And you know, marriage has its highs and its lows, and you really have to make the most. You have to maximize the high moment, so that when you go in a low moment, you can draw from the memory and the key points of the high moments to carry you through those low moments. And just like the other day, Dana and I just got tickled, and she got tickled, then I got tickled, and she got a cramp, and I got tickled at her. And don't ever laugh when your wife's got a cramp. And and I got tickled, and then we laughed for, 10 minutes. And so you have to draw strength from those moments. And because you get older and, you know, everything slows down when you get older. But anyway, we got married at kid. That was 25, and you were,
19.
what are you crying for? You,
I'm not, I was laughing.
got you. I'm gonna get it today. But another thing that started this conversation between us wanting to do this was Super Bowl Sunday. Was it Super Bowl Sunday night? Sunday night? I think so. We had watched the Super Bowl, and we had some people from work come, precious young people. I love this Gen Z generation. And at work, I'm a bivocational pastor, which has had its own challenges. But at work, I've gotten to know some of these young people. And some who used to be connected and plugged into the church here came and they watched the game and they ate, of course, and that's the best part. They got to eat for free. And but afterward, we were just talking, hanging out, and someone had mentioned the fact that Dana recently, the day after Christmas, went to go see her parents who live in Northwest Arkansas. And, you know, we have done this for 34 years of ministry, really, before my parents passed, and her parents and family members, and her parents are still with us. But Papa Dane, Memo Dane, Granny Lee, and different loved ones that when I came into the family in 1986, they just became my family. Literally, the book of Ruth came alive in my life when Ruth left all of her family and friends and connected to Naomi and basically said, your God will be my God and your people will be my people. And that's how it was when Dan and I got married. And so her parents are literally my parents. And she gets upset about that because they love me more. And they love,
Yeah.
Anyway, and so 34 years of that, our children have been raised in this, and we were talking. So she went to see her parents the day after Christmas and got there. Well, our son, Dane, our oldest child, drove up to Bentonville, Rogers, about a 4.5 hour drive, and which is a double treat for Dana because she gets to see our children and her parents. That's rare. And so, but all through our ministry, Dana would have the opportunity to take all of our kids, which were babies for years, and go see my parents in Arkansas, Pine Bluff or Grapevine, whatever. And then she'd load them all back up and we'd drive to Harrison at that time. Mm-hmm. And so Dana had the freedom to drag our children to go see both sides of the family. And I couldn't because of pastoring and whatever. And so now our kids are grown, and so she's in Rogers Christmas. Dane's there. His engine blew up. Is that right?
It started messing up, and so because it was a newer car and only had 35,000 miles on it, he was still covered under warranty. So I told him, take it to a dealership there, and he did, and it ended up having to have almost a whole new motor put in.
Yeah.
So they told him it'd take about a week. A week turned into 3 weeks.
Yes, it did. And the whole time, she's gone. And, you know, this is just what we've done. Because when she would be gone with the kids, you know, I don't bird trailer. I never have. Meaning, if she tells me she's going to get a gallon of milk, then she comes back 5 hours later with a carload of groceries. I thought, boy, that gallon of milk just cost me $150. Don't you go back to that store. And I just never bird trailer. I just always took her at her word. And if she said she's going here, she went there, and she went there. She went, and so I never bird trailer. So she's at her parents, and they're having a blast. And she's baking. She's a baker. Her mom, Mama T, is a baker. Papa T, my pastor, my father. You know, the longest time I had the hardest time just calling him Dad because I didn't know really how she felt about it, or how Scott felt about it, her brother, or how he felt about it. And finally I just said, put on him. I don't care what they think. You know, he's the only dad I've got left. and for 37 years, he's poured into my life, and I'm here as a direct result because of them. But so they're all having a blast, and I'm stuck up here in Ripley, Mississippi, with Grace. Thank God for Grace and Waitland to keep me company. And 1 week turned into 3 weeks, and then her pacemaker that she's had for how many years have you had one since you were 34, 44,
My
54,
first one I got
21
when I
years?
was 34.
34, so 21 years. This is her third pacemaker. And you started having some issues.
Yeah, my heart rate started slowing down, and I started feeling kind of off and sluggish. And so, thank God for my dad. I kind of gave this little testimony on Facebook Live the other day, but he had an appointment with his cardiologist, and they told me to come in. And long story short, battery was dead in the pacemaker, and I was having some chest pain, so they sent me down to the ER, and they admitted me, and so new pacemaker.
New pacemaker, new woman. And I've had to find a new gear.
Not yet.
And she said, well,
We're getting there.
She said, I'm going to have to find a new gear to keep up with you because I've lost weight. And, of course, I always look good anyway, listen, ain't nobody's ego like your own ego. That's the truth.
Especially his.
But, so she was gone 5 weeks to the day that I went to Forest City to pick her up, Grace and I and Waylon, to pick her up. 5 weeks. And that's the longest I think we'd ever been apart, other than early in ministry.
But even then, when he was evangelizing, he would be gone during the week, and I'd load the kids up, and wherever he was at, we would go at least for the weekend to be together. So we were never apart. We've never been apart for 5 consecutive weeks straight.
And so, because as a young evangelist, I'd call these pastors, and this was a day when, I was wearing yellow suit and red suit and purple suit, and I was much more evangelistic in my preaching style then than now. And so pastors would say, well, come on for the weekend, and we'll work something later. So a weekend would turn into a week, then 3 weeks, and then, so she would come. So now she's there and her parents for 5 weeks, and now she's home. And last Sunday night, we were just, as I said, just after the party, talking to some people, and someone said, we'd heard, because you'd made a little joke on Facebook. And if you get to know Dana and I, excuse me, if you get to know Dana and I, you have to understand, in marriage, you have to have a sense of humor. I mean, you do. Because if you take everything serious, that's going to be a long, miserable 37 years. And, but someone had she'd made a joke about, after you'd been gone like 3.5 weeks, maybe 4, I can't remember exactly.
Well, rumors, you know how wonderful rumors start. People that don't know anything try to think they know something and decide to start spreading it. And I had heard through the rumor mill that we were separated.
Come on now.
I mean, did you know that?
I knew you'd been gone 5 weeks, but no.
We were, I guess technically we were separated.
Yeah, but I knew where you were. I knew who you was with, and I wish I had been there with you.
Right.
Because I knew there was some food going on in their house, Then the snow hit, and the snow hit here. But she had made a post on Facebook, and I thought, well, what? Because that's kind of, if you know her, she could go either way with that. Like, hey, everybody, I've been gone a long time. I wish I was there, and we're not separated. We're not getting divorced and all that. Well, then, next thing you know, last Sunday, someone had said to us that they, some other Christian folk, had said that we were getting divorced. So I looked at Dana, I said, you ought to at least tell me. Let me know what's going on. And it kind of got under my skin a little bit because I thought, really, because they don't know us, I guess, like.
If they knew us, they would know how funny that is, because if I tried to run away, he would chase me.
Oh, snap. I'd flatten them tires, take the engine out the car, take the seats out, take her phone away from her. But so we thought we would just kind of, hit some things concerning marriage because, one, you have to trust one another. If you've ever had to go through the ugliness of divorce, and so many people have, even some of our children have, then and coming from a divorced family myself as a child, I know the ugliness of it, the pain of it, the pressure of it. And I just knew that whenever I got married, for whatever reason, when I got married to whoever, it was going to be one time. And I was not going to put my children through that. And so here we are, 37 years tomorrow, Lord willing. And so it just kind of thought, if you've got to get to know people, to know their personality, to know when they're serious or if they're joking, or when they're serious but they're trying to put it in a jokingly manner to ease the blunt off of the truth that they're about to impart. Because sometimes you have to get rough with people, and sometimes you just have to set them straight, and you try to say it in a nice manner. So I thought, well, okay, she's not leaving me, I'm not leaving her. And the side of that is, when Dana and I got married, and I stood before her dad, and because Uncle Dennis wasn't there. Yeah, he
Yes,
was.
he was.
Yeah, he helped marry us.
Yeah.
Because it took both of them up. I promise you, it took both of them to tie that knot. That knot's held on. But because when I ran back into her, we'd been separated from when I knew her from the skating rink back in 79, 80, and 81. She was younger. There's 6 years between us. And I'd been gone off Marine Corps and working in New Orleans, Slidell at the time. And I came home and we ran across one another. Now she's 19, drop dead gorgeous, fell instantly in love. And I just had to be mine, and she's still mine. But I learned, though, even though 37 years of ups and downs, mistakes being made, you work through those hard times. And now, since you were gone those 5 weeks, I can just tell you, she knows me, and I know her. There's nothing more she wanted to do than be with her parents and her brother and her niece and nephews and our son. And here, I've got my Tag tribe and Walmart tribe to keep me busy. See, we just have an understanding, not like some of these preachers do today. I ain't got no spare tire. You know what I'm saying? I don't need no side chick. Can I hoop here? I don't have a side chick. I don't have a spare tire. I don't wink at nobody. I don't blink at nobody. That's just not my interest, because I've always felt that these young boys today, these young men and these young girls, especially that don't have a home life, never knew a father figure, a grandfather figure, and I'm 62. I really love being my age right now, because these young kids, these young girls and these young boys that come up to me, hey, I call a lot of these boys at work son, and I mean that as an expression of, I'm older, you're younger, I'm wiser, you're dumb, and not really. But from that standpoint, so when these girls come up and I just hug them, and they always say, how you doing, Mr. Ron? How you doing, Miss Dana? How you doing, First Lady? It's a hug of, we're glad to see you, because I know some of these preachers, they don't want to hug you. They want to, how do we say it? Hug you. And, you can't have any hidden motivation. And so I knew where she was. So we just want to squash that and tell folk, listen, if you don't know folk, if you don't know people, don't be trying to start nothing because you need to see one marriage failed because you're insecure.
Come on.
In your possible marriage now, or your former marriage, you didn't have the love and the attention that you wanted, that you craved, And so now everybody else's marriage has to fail just so you don't feel like a failure yourself.
I always said when I finally got married, or I shouldn't say finally because I was young when I got married, but when I got married, I wanted someone like my daddy, because I watched my parents' marriage. They've been married.
85 years now.
They've been married way over 50 years, and my daddy has always been sweet to my mom. I have never heard him yell at her. He just does for her and everything. So when I married him, now I always said I didn't want to marry a preacher. I didn't want nothing to do with that. So when I married him, he was the farthest thing from a preacher that I could have found. One of the farthest thing. Yeah. And, but never say never with God, because he will turn that around on you. But saying all that to say this, what he does daily, like I can look horrible, I can be sick, I can look pathetic, and he will tell me how beautiful I look. He's always told me I was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, and I always say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. You don't have to agree with him. I'm not asking you to agree with him, but I appreciate that in him. He'll come in from work and get off at 10 o'clock and come home, and if something needs to be done, especially here lately, he does it. Wash dishes, whatever it needs to be done, he'll do it. Fold clothes, help me fold clothes. He's good to jump in like that. And ladies, if you don't have a man, girls, if you're about to be getting married, or you're thinking about getting married and you're dating somebody, if you don't have someone that's willing to help you, especially when you're sick, if you don't have someone who builds up your self-esteem, then you might need to rethink that situation.
Yeah.
Okay? If you have someone who says, all right, I've got you on Life 360, and if you don't go to the store and write back, there'll be trouble, you best rethink that. If you're dating someone who says, yeah, I'll come to church with you, and won't, definitely rethink that. Because if it hadn't have been for God, I told Wednesday night, last Wednesday night, I did a spur of the moment Bible study because he had to work and I'd been working. God had been dealing with me about being intentional with him, but also your relationships, be intentional. You have to be intentional. I'll text him while he's at work and tell him I'm missing. I'm being intentional because, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't give your significant other, your spouse, any relationship that you're in, if you don't give them that attention, somebody else will. And eventually somebody else will pull them away if you're not putting that intentional affection, that intentional connection into your relationship, because that's how Satan weaves his way in, because someone else will come in and all of a sudden they're giving them compliments and they're telling them how good they look today. If you never do that with yours and somebody else does, who's going to get their attention?
And it goes back to what I jokingly said a while ago, too, though. Jesus made a statement, and he said, you have to love yourself even as you love your neighbor. Now, there's a lot to that, but I want to focus on this fact. You have to love yourself. And I love running. I love running 70, 75 pounds lighter. Now, I ate like a pig Sunday night. Oh, man, we had some food up in here, and I ate, and I'm back on my regiment now. But I love Ronnie for who Ronnie is. I love Dana, and she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. I dated before Dana. Now, understand this, because I don't want y'all to go spreading any rumors now. I want y'all to get this. Before Dana, I was a heathen. I was a good one. I was a hellion, and I was a good one. And I dated some pretty girls, what I thought were pretty then. But when I came across Dana, 6, 7, 8 years later, between 81 and '80 or whenever last time we saw it, in November of '86, oh snap, fell in love, drove my brother crazy. Just he called her and said, "Go out with him so I can finally get some sleep." She went out with me just to let Robert, my brother, get some sleep because I stayed up all night. Boy, if I could just get one date, if I can just get one date, if I could just get one date. And I knew, because if nothing else, I was confident. If I could get one date, she's going to be mine. Hello.
We don't advise this to anyone out there. We do not. But it was just how God had to do it with us, I guess.
See, Dana was raised in church with godly parents and everything going on at Harrison Faith Assembly at that time. I knew nothing about church, nothing, which was to work to my benefit, because one of the hardest things for us to do is to pull out of people religion that's been taught, well, this isn't for today and that isn't for today and this and that and the other. And Papa T and Uncle Dennis, Mama T didn't have to do that. And so she's by far the most beautiful woman I had ever seen, and she just is. And so when she's intentional, sending those texts and everything, I know she misses me, but it's intentional. I want her to miss me. I intentionally do for her, so she will miss me. And, you know, we've always said jokingly, but seriously too, because one day we won't be together. That's just a part of life. One of us will go. And she said, if I go first, oh, you've got your choice of 4 or 5 or however many. I said, if you go first, man, I'm running to the hills, man. Taking my Bible with me, my laptop. And because when I got saved, and she's told this for years, Ronnie loves Jesus more than he loves me. And he loves doing God's work. And that works for us, because when I got saved, God knew what we could do together. And he had a plan for her. I didn't know he had a plan for me, but intentional. I'm intent with Dana. I come home from work, and if the dishes are in the sink, not long ago, before I moved from the maintenance department, and here I am. Somebody said, here at the church and then at work, said, you're the only guy with a doctorate degree that's pushing a broom and swinging a mop. I said, hey, my kids eat better when I'm bringing home food. And I can say a lot there. I don't gamble my check. I bring my check home. Donna gets a part out of my check. My tithes come first. Donna gets a part of the check to make the homework. And if there's anything left for me, she winds up with that too. That's intentional. That's intentional. If she wants to get her nails done, ooh, I used to make some women mad because it's intentional. I take care of her. I want her to look good. When she's walking beside me, I look good. Come on now, because it's intentional. And so when she's being intentional to me and she makes me feel good, if anybody's getting halfway flirtatious, I don't pay that no mind. I don't moan, I don't groan about my wife. Oh, my wife this. Oh, she's meaner than a junkyard dog. Oh, she's not giving me no love. Oh, she's not giving me no sugars, no kisses. She don't tell me how good I look, and all of that. And if I start spewing that garbage out, there's some woman out there that would pick up on that and then start saying, you know, you look mighty good in that shirt. You losing weight? You know, you ain't lost no weight.
Women know women. Women know women. And when we traveled, if he was in a revival and I wasn't there the whole time, and I would show up, you know, to be with him for a little while, and I would go to church, I would stop and say, okay, do you see this woman right here? Do not be extra friendly with her, because that woman right there is going to be trouble. Every church, I'm not kidding, and I'm not, you know, trying to build his ego up or whatever. It's just the truth. Women want someone who's godly. They want someone who talks about their wife and everything. What I don't know that they can't comprehend is that if they were to take that person, he wouldn't be that person anymore.
Right.
he'd be everything they hated because he's done what they wanted.
Right.
So I don't understand that, but
And
women
bes-
know women.
And besides, only you can handle Ronnie Smith, and only Ronnie Smith can handle Dana. I mean, we're made for one another. And if something happened to me, and I've told her this, if something happened to me and I were to go first and she remarried, that would be fine because I'm going to be with Jesus and I'm going to be okay. But there'll never be another man who will love her like I do. And I told her that from day one. And it's been intentional for 37 years that I make sure she, and then when the children come along, they don't do without. Now, I haven't been as successful in ministry as others have, and I haven't gotten everything that other men have gotten and been able to do for their wife. But on that same note, when I come home, I'm coming home to my wife, and I know where I've been. I know what I've done. I've been to work, and I've come home. Even now, when I get from work and I hear our grandson, Waylon, and he says, "Pop, pop," and he comes running, that just takes me back to my children that would come home after being gone for 2 weeks or whatever, seeing my parents and when they're kids and your parents and come home. Oh, I just can't wait till they get home. And so, yeah, you have to be intentional on both ends. And I'm intentional. I'm going to get a little greedy here. I get intentional because I want it to look good. And, if I come home and I wash the dishes, I'm thinking, okay, she's going to sit here in this chair and she's going to watch this movie with me. Or she's going to go to dinner with me. Or we're going to have some quality time together. And so for 37 years, that's worked for me. And being in church works for us. I couldn't do this without Jesus.
Well, and I told Wednesday night, there is everybody uses pyramids. God has to be first. God has to be first. But the second person on that list is your spouse. God first, then Ronnie, then my family, then the church. And I said, people may not agree with that, and if you know me, you know how I'm going to say this. I don't give a rip, because that's how it's supposed to be.
That's the order, that's the umbrella that God has established. Him first, he's the head of the church, and he delegates that authority to a pastor to oversee the flock. But I'm the head of my home, and she's the queen of my home, and the children are the prince and the princesses of my home.
If you're not married, then it would be, and you're just dating, it would be God, then your children, then that other person.
Yeah, because
until you're married. And then when you get married, you put that person second and then your children. It's how I feel, because your children are your responsibility. And until you're married, until you say the I do's, then that's the order.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had to have a talk one time, because I was, like I said, I was raised in a preacher's home, and he wasn't. His enthusiasm about church, which is awesome, was so much that it was God, me, church, kids. And we talked about that at one point, because the church house will always be a church, whether we're sitting here at TAG or we leave and go wherever. TAG is still going to be TAG, but our family has to stay a family.
And that's true, because every church that we've ever had the privilege to pastor is still in existence. They've gone on. But I can't lose my family for the sake of a church that if we left, got voted out or whatever, or divorced, that church is still going to be in existence. And so I have to prioritize my family, my wife, and my children, and prayerfully, through this union, we get to do what we need to do for the body here. And that's the way that I finally had to learn the hard way, is that you can't substitute one or the other. It's God, my wife, my children, and church. Because I never wanted another man to have to raise my children. I wanted to raise my children. And we chose years ago Dana to be a stay-at-home mother, which financially has hurt us at different times, but we've just learned to make do. Because had I worked and she worked, her job would basically be just to pay a babysitter for 4 children or 3 children or 2 children who wasn't ever in school. Her check basically would have gone to just to pay the enormous fee for a babysitter, and they raise them. And we just decided we didn't want that.
Which I had to a few times.
Yeah.
And then, we were fortunate enough that, we weren't rich by any means, but I was able to step back. I know we lived behind my grandpa and grandma one time in Van Buren, and I was working at a grocery store, and he was working somewhere. And my grandmother had watched our oldest son. He was the only child at home, and she got to where she wasn't feeling real good, so we found a babysitter. And I quit work not too long after that because that babysitter was mean to my baby.
Yeah.
And so instead of going to jail, I quit work.
She went home.
Because don't nobody mess with my babies.
And that's always been our attitude. And for 37 years, and they're still our babies. And
yeah, I told him, I said, you may be 36 years old, but you're still my baby.
yeah,
And Olivia's 27, she's still my baby.
they're my baby.
Jace is 26, he's still my baby. Grace is 24, she's still my baby.
I wouldn't say nothing. I was agreeing with you. but that's been our life. This works for us.
Well, what I was saying a while ago, earlier, and you cut me off, I said I wouldn't advise this for anyone, but we only dated 3 weeks when he asked me to marry him, and we got married 3 months later. We had so many people say, y'all aren't going to last 6 months. This marriage will never work. It'll never last. And in probably normal situations, it wouldn't have. But we were intentional about it. Now, has it been a bed of roses for 37 years? No. I don't know what marriage
She'd been
is.
thorns from time to time, but on the other side, so have I.
Yeah.
You'll run through a field of dandelions and you'll sweep through like the commercial of the movie, a handful of dandelions, and it's all picturesque. But you'll never run through a field of roses and just sweep it because you'll grab the thorns.
The key is if something's broken, then you try and fix it.
Right.
And we've been fortunate enough and blessed enough that we have been able to fix anytime it's been just a little crack in it even, or if it's been completely broken. We've been able to fix it, and we sure wouldn't have been able to do that if we hadn't have had Christ as the center of our relationship. So that's the key right there, is you've got to keep Christ as the center of your relationship, be intentional with each other.
The love has to run deeper than the moment that things get broken or whatever. Because we've had things that in our marriage that have broken a plate or something special to us. And it gets broken, and you put the super glue to it, you let it set up, and eventually it works again. And if the love runs deeper than the present situation that's trying to cause a break or a split or whatever, you just have to draw from the glue of that love that you knew what brought you together, what attracted you, and you just have to stick it out, do some self-evaluation, and that's what has worked for us. And you're talking about some secrets. Now, I was thinking about this when we knew we were going to do it. You have to have, and I want to be careful how I want to say it, but I want to pastor someone through this. You can't have secrets in marriage. An example. This is her phone. I bought it for her last Christmas, paid for it. She needed a new one. And she said, well, just get me something. I don't get her just something. I saved my money, sold blood, plasma, Coke. No, she got at that time the newest phone, which was a 14 Pro Max, so she got the new phone. And I said, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, Happy Anniversary for the next 2 years. And we laughed at it. But that was a secret. But when I say to her, when I say, you can't have any secrets, I say, Dana, let me see your phone. She just hands me her phone. I just flip through it. Or if my phone is in the bedroom and I'm too lazy to get out of the recliner to go get my phone and hers is laying there, oh, snap, I can have me some fun. I blow it up and I'll post on Facebook, Ronnie Smith, you are the most amazing, handsome, godly man I've ever known. And I'll post it and people will say, amen, Sister Dana. Amen, First Lady. He is an amazing man of God and we are so blessed. And, you know, I'm adding some of that to it. But she'll get a phone. But if she says to me, Ronnie, let me see your phone. She can just grab my phone. It does not freak me out. I don't want nothing on my phone that my grandkids can't grab it at any time and watch YouTube or whatever. If they have my phone, just don't drop it. So you can't have those type of secrets that they can't go through it and they can't ask me a question about who is this and why is this, and you give an honest explanation, it just rings the tone of truth. And she, okay, or I say, okay. And now the secrets that you can have is like tomorrow, 37 years. She don't know what I've got planned. I don't know what she's got planned. I know what I hope she's got planned.
That's for a marriage conference.
Well, I'm trying to get stop. You're going to make me lose my train of thought. Crazy woman. She don't know what I have planned. I hope I know what she's got planned. She'll somewhere we're going to get some seafood tomorrow night somewhere.
Hope.
And hopefully, yeah, we can. But you can have secrets. You can have secrets that build you up. I pack a bag. Where we're going? Doesn't matter. Just pack a bag. How long we're going to be gone? A day and a half. You know, and pack a bag. Get your toothbrush. Don't need no makeup. Need to get your toothbrush though, and and come on and go get a room or hit the beach or whatever. You can have those secrets, those things that will build you up. But again, all the way back to the original point, for those that just thought being 5 weeks that she had left me or we had trouble or whatever. And look, when she was gone those 5 weeks, Grace and I, and at work, even the people that I work with at Walmart that know her when she comes in, they all know her about some glasses that she has.
They broke.
And they broke, and she got some new ones coming in. And they would all know her when she went in, and everybody said, I love your glasses. I love your glasses. And now I work there, and they come in, oh, here comes Sister Dana. And I was joking with them, and I'd say, man, I'll be glad when she gets home. How long has she been gone now, Mr. Ronnie? I say, 4 weeks. Ooh, she been gone a long time. And I said, I hope she gets home soon. My white socks are now brown. I've worn them inside and out. They brown. Oh, Mr. Ronnie, that's so. Have you washed the clothes? Have you cleaned the house? And I tell them, I can clean my house. I can wash my clothes. I put everything, that red sweater, my red sweater, whites and everything. I just put everything in the laundry one time, one load, extra little soap, cold. Wash everything on cold. Then dry them. You're all right. But we kept the house clean. When she came in, I didn't want her to have to do it, especially after the surgery. And that's just what we do. That's what we do. I came in not long ago, and I had a really good day at work, and I was still in the maintenance department at that time. And I came in, I just wasn't tired, walked in the kitchen, and the kitchen needed some help. which tells me that Grace or Dana they had cooked whatever, and they just didn't clean the kitchen. And it usually stays clean. So I went in and I just took my vest off and I just started washing dishes. Just started washing, drying them, putting them away. And then I just really got into it. I started moving stuff out of the way and swept over here behind this, moved that. Then I mopped the floor, and Dana came in. What are you doing? I said, I just feel like cleaning. So I washed all the dishes, put them away, swept and mopped the kitchen. Then I started in on the bathroom, and Dana came in with my wet mop, okay, my mop. And she started mopping the bathroom floor, trying to help me. I said, don't you do that. And she stopped, she looked at me. She said, what? I said, I ain't swept my floor yet. And she was trying to mop the floor before I swept it. Oh, okay. You know, she did. She turned right back around, went back and got in the chair, and let me finish it. I didn't need her to help me. She didn't ask me to do it. I just figured if I did it, because she likes getting up to a clean kitchen. Nothing in the sink. And 99% of the time, that's probably how it is. Where a while ago, that other 0.1%, big stuff. She's a baker, and Grace is a baker. And I just wash the dishes and put them up, and so we could play the next round of Jenga with the kitchen dishes.
Right.
And that's the little things that we do, secret things that she didn't have to ask me to do. And there's things that she does for me that she doesn't feel like doing, that she does it because she knows it's important to me. That's what brings 37 tomorrow. From 36 to 37, doing those little things constantly, and now it's just routine, you know. But all of those that just was 5 weeks, and the women that gather around and say, I'm so sick of him talking about his wife and getting her nails done and her toes done and her hair fixed and short and gray-headed. And hey, every gray hair she got on her head, I put there. So don't you say
half
nothing.
Half of them. Kids put the other half on.
Well, you notice I've been in such a perfect marriage, I don't even have any gray hair on my head, Mike Landers. So, with all of that said, we want to hit that and just say, you know, your marriage will be what you invest in it. You can have a Rockefeller marriage, or you can have a olive oil Popeye marriage. They weren't even married, were they? No, they just dated. Brutus was always giving a hard time.
Well, they had the I don't know. That's a cartoon anyway. Who cares?
So, anyway, see, shut down my point. Shut down my point.
They did have a baby, though, remember?
No.
Yeah.
Popeye and olive oil did?
They must have been married.
They had to be married back, because when they made the cartoon that day, that's how they rolled. You get married first.
That's
So
true.
anyway, and that's how we roll today.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Just if you hear rumors, then go straight
look,
to the person.
no.
Y'all are more than welcome to come straight to me or straight to him. We'll be glad to tell you the truth, even if it's not good, you know. But come to us, and if you have any questions about us, instead of spreading rumors, because, you know, rumors don't make friends. Jesus don't like it.
No.
And I don't either.
But you know, it does. Just because you're struggling in your marriage and your husband or your wife isn't what you see being lived out or portrayed by another man or another wife, doesn't give you the right to go find someone else that you want. No. Build them up. Bring them in and work on them. And if she looks like an old nag, well, if you treat her like a thoroughbred, she wouldn't act like an old nag.
We had been married 15 years, and I joined this book club. And you could order so many books for a penny a piece or something like that. And I ordered this book called Romancing Your Husband. No, it's not exactly how it sounds, okay? It's about your marriage. That book at the time was a life changer for me. I can't tell you enough about what it did. Later on, the author's husband wrote a book on romancing your wife, and I'd given it to him, and I said, "You hadn't started that book yet?" Yeah, I have." "No, you haven't." I knew, because I knew what it would do when he did. So
I
a
read-
few weeks had gone by, and I said, "You've been reading that book?" And he said, No, I haven't." And I said, "Yes, you have. I can tell." I could tell because I knew what that book, I didn't know what that book said, but I knew how you would feel and how you would respond after you read the book. And so if you're having any type of maybe not so much problems, but you need a new outlook on your marriage, it's called Romancing Your Husband by Deborah White Smith, or Romancing Your Wife by Gary Smith, I think is his name.
Mr. Smith.
You can find them on Amazon or
But,
whatever.
but better,
they're
even better
good.
than that, get around a marriage, a couple that's been married 37 years, 30 years, or however young they are, but 50 years. Because Papa T, her parents, and Mama T can tell me how to make my marriage work for 15 years down the road. When, because Papa T is what, 80? Mama T is what, 87, 88?
She gonna get you if she watches this.
She's going to have to come here to do it. She's going to fix some fried chicken when she gets here, too. No, but they've been married, I think, 54,
Well,
55 years.
No, longer than that. I'm 56.
Okay, 56, 57.
They've been married 58.
58 years, something like
years.
that. Okay. I'm surprised didn't jump on line. But you surround yourself with people that you can see success in their marriage. And you watch how other men treat their wife. And ladies, you watch other men how to treat their wife. And back and forth.
But be careful not to focus on someone else's marriages and wanting yours to be just like that, because in some ways that can be bad too. That's like watching a romance movie and getting mad at your husband because he don't treat you like on this movie. It's a movie. Hello.
The Notebook. Dumbest movie ever made. But I watched it every time she watches it because it's not even realistic. Dana, she had Alzheimer's and had that and joke coming. You know, I said the Notebook. He walks in and looks at his wife laying there, and he says, "Hey, do you remember me?" And she said, "No." And he sat down and started reading to her again. If I walked in, Dana's laying there, I said, "Hey, you know me?" "Nope." Boom. I'd been gone. I'd been back then.
You'd have been laid up in that bed with me just like he was with her. You know it.
Because at some point, Dana'd say, "Where's Ronnie at? What's he doing?" He's over to church somewhere. But you get around people that can help you learn the little secrets. Because little things, Song of Solomon says, it's the little foxes that spoil the vine. Well, if that's true, then it's the small things that will help turn your marriage around. And it's just amazing. What? Washing a few dishes, taking out the trash. You've got $60 you're going to blow on shotgun shells, but she gets her nails done. She's got an event coming up, and she wants to get her hair cut and colored, and you do that. She comes before me. Now, Dana cooks. She still cooks. Oh, my Lord. She has not learned how to down cook yet. Because when you have 4 kids like ours, they love to eat.
I can't do small meals.
And she'll cook. And even though we would have a 55-gallon drum of spaghetti, Dana and my children always fix their plate first. And the old-timer, the women would say, "No, you fix your husband's plate first, then your children and yours." Well, if that's the case, then she's hardly going to get a hot meal. Ralphie will tell you that. and so that's just what works for us. So you get around people that can help you strengthen your marriage by getting around people who have strong marriages. Strong, not perfect, strong. That no matter what is thrown at us today, based on what we've already overcome in 37 years, if we don't give up, we can make it through anything at this point. So, and to God be the glory. God first, church has helped us. You've got to get a church. You've got to get in the word church too. You got to get in a church that you know your pastor's a man of integrity. You know your first lady's a man of integrity. You're not afraid to be
your
real.
first lady's a woman of integrity.
What I say?
A man.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. Cause
I'm not a man.
No, because we got something going on in culture today. That your first lady is a woman of integrity,
There you go.
and you get in that church, you plant, and you grow, and you grow, and that's what has helped me stay the priest of my home, the head of my home. And I could have done things better, I'm sure, based on the outcome of other pastors and men that's been more successful in areas. But at the same time, there's a lot of pastors in ministry that can't say they still got the same woman 37 years later. That a preach right there. You should have said amen.
Amen.
No, that's a weak amen.
Amen.
Come on now. Somebody told me one time, we're not a real big amen in church. If you don't amen good enough, I'll ask for one. Ask them over here at Tag. Come on, give me an amen. And they're screaming as loud as they can.
As we're closing this, we just want
Yeah.
to encourage you this Valentine's Day. Love is still real. Love is real. Be intentional in your relationships. Be intentional. That's a big thing. Be forgiving. Remember, your spouse is not a mind reader. So don't expect them to know everything that's going through your mind. I mean, we've been married long enough that we can look at each other and we kind of know what we're thinking. But if I want to go somewhere and I haven't told him that, then I can't expect him to know where I want to go and what I want to do. I have to speak it instead of getting mad about it. So just remember a few of these things. And a couple that prays together stays together. So we love y'all. Y'all have a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. We plan on having a happy anniversary tomorrow, unless the Lord comes back, and then we'll have one in heaven. But y'all have a great evening and be blessed.